buried my grandfather on a Thursday. It was a grey, hurried funeral. No music, no priest. Just me, the lawyer, and a gravedigger who wouldn't meet my eyes. Grandpa outlived everyone. My parents, his friends. Even the mailmen stopped delivering years ago. They found him curled up in the attic, surrounded by paper. Walls plastered in what the cops called weird doodles. They didn't bother looking further. That same night, I unlocked his house with a key taped inside the will envelope. A key, no address, no instructions. Just a note scribbled on the back of a cracked photo of my mother. Don't stay in the house overnight. Especially not in October. It was October 1st. I should have turned around the moment I stepped in. The smell hit first. Old wood, mildew, metal. But beneath it, something sharp. Like burnt ink. The furniture was all covered in sheets like ghosts frozen mid-dance. I found a light switch, flipped it, and nothing happened. So I used my phone flashlight and walked straight down the hallway toward his office. I was supposed to collect items of personal importance for the estate settlement. What I found was worse. The office was immaculate. Desk dusted, curtains drawn. On the desk sat a single object. A rusted padlock key, laid neatly on top of a yellowed envelope with my name, Lucas, written in tight, slanted script. Inside the envelope, a second note, attic, trunk. Don't look unless it already started. What already started? The attic door creaked open like it had lungs. Cold air rushed down the steps, thick as steel. My phone flashlight flickered once, twice. I climbed the steps anyway. The attic was chaos. Torn canvas. Broken picture frames. Rolled up rugs that looked like they hadn't moved in years. But at the back, under a slanted beam, was a single trunk. Old wood, brass corners, a rusted lock. I held up the padlock key. My hands were shaking. I didn't know why. This wasn't fear yet. This was something else. Anticipation, like I was waking up in the middle of someone else's nightmare. The key clicked in. The lid groaned open. Inside, paper, drawings, hundreds of them. Loose, disorganized. Old charcoal or pencil. The smell hit me again. Charcoal dust, aged paper, and something like rot. I picked one up, a stick figure, standing next to what looked like a coffin. It was labeled, Lucas, Thursday. Thursday. Today. I flipped to the next one. It showed a man, clearly my grandfather, lying in bed, eyes open, mouth stitched shut in ink. Something was standing over him. A shadow with arms too long, fingers that split into points. No face. Just deep, black scribbles where a head should be. The third drawing. That was the one that made my stomach drop. It was me. Drawn with terrifying detail, despite being stick-like. I was standing at his grave, in the exact clothes I wore to the funeral. Dark hoodie, silver watch, left shoelace untied. I turned it over. The date on the back, drawn, March 2021. Up, almost 2 years ago. I dropped the paper. My breathing was too loud. The attic felt like it was shrinking. There were more. A stack of them. Each one showing something I hadn't done yet. One with me standing at my apartment window. One with me on the subway, headphones in. A black smudge behind me. One with my front door kicked open. I kept flipping. Faster and faster. Until I reached a thick, crumpled page at the bottom of the pile. This one was done in hard graphite. So dark it looked burned. It showed a stick figure sleeping, but hovering above it, that same shadow creature, bent backward, watching. Below it, written in what looked like a cracked pencil. It comes for blood. That's when I realized the trunk wasn't locked to keep me out. It was locked to keep something in. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Not after what I saw in those drawings. I laid them all out on the attic floor, forming a timeline. Some showed things that had already happened. My high school graduation, the car accident last year, the funeral today. But others hadn't, or hadn't yet. One showed me sitting at a desk, typing something. I recognized the poster on the wall behind me. My apartment bedroom, but there was something in the corner. A figure, barely there, like a smear of charcoal smoke just behind my chair. Its arm was reaching for my shoulder. Another showed me asleep in bed, alone, except I wasn't. The shadow was crouched next to me, face right up against mine, or where the face should be. All black, hollow, featureless, like someone tried to erase its identity after drawing it. Then I found the first anomaly. A sketch of a window, clearly mine, apartment 3B. The blinds were halfway open, and in the reflection, a person with no face. That window hadn't looked like that before, but when I checked the photo album on my phone, just to be sure, I froze. The photo I took of my window last week, the reflection was there now, exactly the same. I hadn't noticed it before, but it had always been there. I told myself it was coincidence, just stylized art. Grandpa was weird, maybe psychic, maybe paranoid. Maybe I was just reading into it because I was tired, stressed, grieving. Right. Then I opened my apartment door. There was a drawing taped to it. Fresh. Not aged like the others. It showed me opening the door. Same clothes, same keys in hand. And behind me, again, that creeping black silhouette, stretching up the hallway wall like spilled ink. I dropped the paper, looked behind me, nothing. I slammed the door shut. 2 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, no caller ID. Just a single message, drawing complete. I don't even remember sitting down. I just remember blinking and realizing I was at my desk, hands trembling, staring at the stack of drawings I brought back from the farmhouse. And then the power cut out. My phone flashlight flicked on instinctively. I heard it before I saw it. Scraping, like fingernails dragging across drywall. Slow, circular, not from the hallway, from inside my bedroom. I should have run. I should have called someone, but my body moved on its own. I opened the door and saw nothing, until I turned to the mirror. That was the first time I saw it, not in full. Just the shape. My reflection was off by a split second, delayed, and behind me, in the corner of the mirror, something moved. It slipped out of view the moment I turned. When I looked back at the glass, nothing. But taped to the mirror was another drawing. This one showed me asleep in bed. But above me, standing on the ceiling, was the shadow. It had no eyes, but it was looking straight at me. I tried to burn them, all of them. I grabbed a metal trash can, tossed the drawings in, and lit a match. They curled at the edges, blackened, then flared violently, like someone poured oil on them. I stumbled back, but the next morning, they were back in the trunk, perfectly preserved. And there were more now, drawings I hadn't seen before. One showed my bathroom, sink running, blood in the basin. Another, my apartment hallway, but this time it wasn't me in the frame. It was something wearing my face, but it had no mouth, just a stretched smear where the lower half should be. And then I saw the last one in the new pile. It was dated the next day, tomorrow. A sketch of a body falling from a balcony, arms limp, neck bent wrong. At the bottom, my name, Lucas, and the time, 3:07 a.m. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't, not after seeing the 3:07 a.m. drawing. I set alarms, sat by the door with a kitchen knife like that would help. Every clock tick was a countdown. 2:55 a.m. 303537 hit. Nothing. Silence. Until a loud thump against the sliding glass door of my balcony. I jumped so hard I knocked over the lamp. There was something pressed against the glass. Not a person, an outline. Black, head tilted, like it had just hit the door, face first, and hadn't bothered to move. I backed away, heart beating out of my chest. I fumbled for my phone and opened the camera, shaking. I took a picture. Flash, empty balcony. But when I checked the gallery, it was there, that same long-limbed shadow from the drawings. Arms spread wide like it was about to crawl through the glass. I needed help. I drove to my friend Jordan's place, half panicked, half convinced I was losing my mind. I didn't even explain much. I just dumped the drawings out on his kitchen table. He picked one up. Froze. "Bro," he whispered. "This is me." It was. A stick figure in a room that looked like his, a ceiling fan above, a rope around its neck. Jordan didn't say another word. He shoved the drawings away like they were diseased and asked me to leave. That was around 10 a.m. By 1 p.m., he was dead. Found in his bedroom, hanging from the ceiling. The police said it looked like suicide, but I knew better, because the drawing wasn't just close, it was identical. After Jordan's death, I went back to the farmhouse. I don't know why. It felt like all the answers were there, like something unfinished was clawing its way out of the wood. The place was darker than I remembered, like the walls were absorbing the sunlight. I went straight to the attic. The trunk was open, empty. Instead, the drawings were everywhere, taped to walls, furniture, the ceiling. Some were old, some fresh. And in the center of the attic was a mirror I hadn't seen before. Oval, tall, its surface grimy and cracked. There was something drawn on the mirror in black marker. "It watches through glass. Don't reflect." That night, I covered every mirror in my apartment, every reflective surface, phone screen, laptop, microwave door, gone. But at 3:03 a.m., my phone buzzed again, no number. My phone buzzed again, no number. Just an image. It was a photo of me, asleep, taken from the foot of the bed. I jumped up and swept the room. Nothing, no sign of entry. No open windows. But the moment I opened the bathroom door, there it was. A new drawing, taped to the mirror. This one showed a coffin. Same apartment, same clothes, same scar on my jaw. Me, dead, and something standing behind the coffin, holding a pencil, smiling. I called a priest. I didn't know what else to do. I figured if demons existed, maybe someone out there still knew how to fight them. He listened quietly as I explained everything. The drawings, the deaths, the shadow. I begged him to come see for himself. He paused, then asked me, "Do you still dream in first person?" "What?" Before I could answer, he hung up. I stared at the phone for a long time. Then it buzzed again. One new image. A drawing. Not sent from a number this time. Just appeared. It showed me, kneeling in front of the priest's body, blood splattered across my hands, the church in the background. I hadn't gone to see him. I hadn't even told him where I lived. But the next day, I saw the headline online. Local priest found dead outside rural chapel. No suspects. The church in the photo matched the drawing exactly. I tried to get a grip. I stopped leaving the apartment. Stopped answering the door. I unplugged the TV, the radio. I covered every reflective surface in black duct tape and kept every light on. And still the drawings came. Not delivered. Not emailed. They just appeared, folded in the fridge under my pillow. Inside cereal boxes. One was even inside the microwave, taped to the rotating glass plate. They weren't all violent now. That made them worse. One showed me brushing my teeth, and in the mirror, a hand resting on my shoulder. Another showed me smiling at someone who wasn't there. But the worst one, it showed me drawing. Not stick figures, not simple sketches. pages and pages of detailed horror. And all of them were of other people. People I didn't know. That night, I woke up on the floor, pencil in hand. Charcoal dust on my fingertips. My desk lamp was on, flickering. The room smelled like scorched paper. I looked down. My sketch pad was open. I'd drawn someone. A woman I didn't recognize. Mid-30s, blonde, asleep in bed. Something standing over her. Same shadow, same posture. Watching, my stomach twisted. I tore out the page and tried to rip it in half, but the moment it tore, I heard a scream outside. A single, sharp cry, then silence. I ran to the window. Nothing but streetlights and fog, but when I checked the torn drawing again, the figure on the page was gone. Just the empty bed, and a smear of red where the woman had been. That's when I stopped fighting the obvious. I dug through Grandpa's journals. There were dozens, spiral-bound notebooks filled with tiny, frantic handwriting. Most were nonsense. Symbols, circles, repeated phrases like, "Don't let it finish you," and reflections are invitations. But one entry was crystal clear. "1964. A boy at school. I drew what happened before it happened. Just once, then again, then it came. The more I drew, the more it came, the more it fed. The final page said, 'The shade is real. It doesn't kill. It replaces.' Under that, I tried to stop. I sealed the trunk, but it already had your mother. It will have you. Unless you break the pencil, burn the page, or lose your hands." And below it, paper-clipped like a death certificate, was a new sketch of me. But it was incomplete. No face, no hands, just an outline and the same black smudge hovering above where the head should be. The caption scrawled underneath, "Almost done." I tried to stop drawing. I threw out every pencil, snapped the charcoal sticks, even burned my sketchbooks. I taped my fingers together, just in case. But when I woke up the next morning, my hands were covered in ink, dried, flaked, and a new drawing sat on my chest. Me, staring into a mirror, and behind me, the shade, fully formed now, arms out, wrapping around me like wings. Worse still, my face in the drawing wasn't horrified. It was smiling. I couldn't tell if that was a threat or a warning. I ran, grabbed what I could, and drove out of the city. No destination, just distance. But every exit sign, every roadside reflection, every glint of glass kept threatening to show me something behind me, something that never appeared in the rear view, but always felt one breath away from whispering my name. I stopped at a roadside motel. Room 16. Window nailed shut. Bathroom mirror already cracked. Blessed relief. I passed out, fully clothed, light on. At 3:07 a.m., I woke up with a pencil in my mouth. Not between my lips, wedged in, like someone had forced it in there while I slept. And there was another drawing, on the TV screen. Me, lying on that exact bed. But this time, the shade wasn't watching. It was sitting where I should be. The caption, "Replaceable." That was the first time I noticed the inconsistencies. The scar on my arm, gone. A tattoo I got in college, missing. My phone's wallpaper, different. A photo I never remembered taking. I called my own number. It rang. Someone picked up. They didn't speak, but I heard breathing. And behind it, the scratch of a pencil. I threw the phone against the wall. 2 minutes later, it rang again. The screen lit up, not with a number, just one word, "finish." I snapped. I screamed into the empty motel room. tore the curtains down, smashed the cracked mirror completely. I wanted to bleed, to break something, to remind myself I was still real, but the bleeding never came. I looked down, no cuts, no pain, nothing. Then I noticed it. My reflection wasn't gone. It was watching me from the shattered shards, and it was smiling again. It lifted its hand, slowly, pencil between two fingers. Then it began to draw. Me, trapped, watching, from the wrong side of the glass, and on the motel desk behind me, where I swore there had been nothing. A sketchpad, open. Page 1, a perfect drawing of me. Page 2, me screaming. Page 3, blank, but I could feel it. The shade was already sketching page 4. From inside, I tried to leave the motel. Key turned, door opened. Outside was wrong. Not night, not day, just stillness. A pale gray that bled across the sky like pencil smudge. The road was gone. The parking lot. The air didn't move, and every room in the row boarded shut, except one, room 3B. My apartment number. It wasn't possible, but there it was. Same peeling door paint, same dent by the lock. I stepped inside shaking, and the drawings were everywhere. But this time, they were moving, pencil marks shifting, figures twitching in place, the shade flickering from frame to frame like it was searching for something, or someone. The sketchpad was open on the kitchen table, pages flipping on their own. Faster and faster. I watched it sketch me standing there, then stepping closer, then reaching out for the pad, frame by frame, like it was animating me, predicting me, or worse, directing me. I looked at my hand. It moved before I thought to move it. I dropped to my knees. I wasn't in control anymore, and the page kept flipping. One page, then another, then another, then the final one. This time, there were two figures. Me and something else. Both wearing my face, but one was real. The other, drawn. I looked up. The shade stood at the doorway, not as a shadow now, but a perfect match. My face, my stance, my eyes, empty. I blinked. It did not. I spoke. It didn't echo. It stepped forward, holding the sketchpad. It raised its hand and began to draw. I ran to the bathroom, one mirror still intact. I ripped the black tape down. The reflection was not mine. He blinked first. He smiled. He mouthed something. Too late. I turned. The shade was gone. But the drawing was in my hands now, and it was complete. Me looking at a blank mirror, captioned, replaced. I don't know who's writing this anymore. It feels like I'm typing, like these words are mine. But sometimes my fingers move on their own. Sometimes I blink and lose hours, days. Sometimes I find new drawings in the drawer of people I've never met, and sometimes I recognize them. The barista at the corner cafe. The kid who walked past me on the sidewalk. The mailman, all smiling in their portraits. All missing mouths, all signed by me. And this last page, it's already drawn. It shows you, right now, reading this. Caption? Next. They found my apartment 3 days after the noise complaints. Door locked from the inside. Lights on. Power still running. But no one answered. No signs of forced entry. Inside, everything was still. Sketches lined the walls, floor to ceiling. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands, all in the same hand. Mine. Stick figures, charcoal horrors, pages stapled together into thick volumes, some dated, some not, all cataloging death, disappearances, murders, suicides, but always drawn days before they occurred, and always with one consistent detail. The figure in the background, a faceless double, sometimes blurred, sometimes sharp, always present. They never found me, only a mirror shattered. And in the corner of the room, my sketchpad. One final page, still damp with fresh ink. A drawing of someone sitting in a chair, eyes locked forward, their mouth slightly open, reading, "You," captioned in smeared graphite. The one who looks too long becomes the next hand. Beneath it, scrawled, "Pencils passed. Page is blank. Your turn."